Good evening, everyone, and welcome into another edition of the Royals Rundown podcast presented by Royals Review. I am Jacob Milham, back at it once again with the illustrious Jeremy Greco. Jeremy, happy Thursday, buddy.
Happy Thursday. I was gonna say
Ish.
hump day for some reason, and
It's habit.
this is not hump day.
No, it's not habit. It's not hump day anymore.
I I had I had asked the Royals Tuesday night after their victory to get over the hump and get back over 500 with a win on Wednesday, and somebody said, "Well, it is hump day, right?" But the Royals created a mountain too high to climb.
Apparently so, and they are rolling back downhill a little bit. Hopefully they've stopped moving since it is an off day after all, but we'll see what happens there. Yep, we gotta talk a little bit about that Washington National series, the good, the bad, and the ugly from it. Plus, we'll be talking about some things going on at AAA Omaha, a debut, and how we think it went, and also just one of the Royals pitchers is regressing at the worst possible time for
Is it
this team.
regression?
I think it is. I think
You
it is.
think it's
But
regression, not injury?
I think it's regression, maybe due to injury, if that makes sense.
Okay, well, I think those two things are mutually exclusive, but
Okay,
we can talk
gotcha.
about it.
Gotcha. Yeah, we'll talk about that here in a little bit. But if you want more on any of this, any of the news that we talk about, the best place to go is royalsreview.com. Got the new look site over there. We had Max on the podcast while I was out sick. Thank you, Jeremy, for having Max there. And Max, he runs a pretty tight ship. He set up that site. We're still learning new things about what we can do. What? He runs a tight ship. It's just how
Max
it
didn't
goes.
set it up.
Oh,
That was the Vox IT people that set it up. He's just the one that's going through and asking them to fix everything they broke.
well, with how much that he's
And let me tell you, Jacob, he is on top of that.
yes, he is. I say he put it together because of how much he's had to go back and ask them to fix. You might as well put it together at this point. But no, it looks really good over there at royalsreview.com. Go join the comment community. Go start discussions in the feed. It's still in its fledgling stage, but I think that has a lot of potential. But that potential can only be realized by our listeners utilizing it over at royalsreview.com.
Did you see I tried, Jacob? I made a good faith effort.
You did try, and I appreciate that.
I tried to not be old anymore.
Well, you tried a new thing. Change can always be tough,
Can I derail our bus for a second?
Come on. What?
I saw a social media post where someone said milkshake duck Uno reverse, and I have no idea what any of that means. I mean, I know what an Uno reverse is. So I'm just like, I'm begging someone explain to me what this term means because I'm too old.
Did it start off with a was it the beginning of a piece of writing?
No.
It was just a post on its own.
Just a post that was like milkshake duck Uno reverse.
So I'll tell you what I think that is.
All right. Tell me.
Because I've been seeing folks do it on LinkedIn.
See if I can give you more context.
Okay. I've been seeing folks do it on LinkedIn for a couple weeks now. And it's because, ChatGPT just dropped GPT-5, and it's, I'm firmly in the camp. AI isn't going anywhere. We just have to figure out the ethics around it, which there's not a whole lot. But one of the things is some of these social media sites are giving these companies permission to train their models using social media posts to increase their intelligence, be able to create better products, yada, yada, yada. But if you put random gibberish in the middle of a post, it's going to ingest that as part of the post, if that makes sense. So I've seen people breaking up sentences with gibberish, or if you go on social media, that's why people will have a video about a concert, but have something about a Ford Camry in their bio, in their description.
I don't think that's what's happening here, because this is Blue Sky and they don't allow AI on there.
True mystery.
And, so I did look up milkshake duck, which is apparently an internet term that you use that means someone who became really popular for a minute, but then when you looked into them more, you were like, oh, they're actually bad. I don't know where it comes from, but that's what milkshake duck means. And Uno reverse is obviously put that back on you,
Yep.
right?
Right.
So, but like, I still don't get it. The only context I can give you is that there was this guy who threw a sandwich at federal agents, threw a Subway sandwich at federal agents for some reason. I'm still unclear as to why. And he's being charged with assault for that, which does seem excessive to me. But someone was like, don't milkshake duck this guy. So don't find out he's a bad person. And
Yeah.
I guess someone figured out he is a Department of Justice trial attorney and he's been fired.
Wow.
So I can't figure, like, I still don't understand, like, wouldn't a milkshake duck Uno reverse mean like that the person who's trying to milkshake duck someone became the milkshake duck?
That does make zero sense, but also, I mean, come on, man. We're old. It's
I'm just
slang
old.
now.
I don't know. You're not as old as I am, so you can be older. I'm old.
I'm not, but like I'll still
I am 3 months away from being 40 years old, Jacob.
Woo!
I'm old.
Hell yeah. You'll get there in 3 months.
And then what will I do, Jacob? I think I might spontaneously collapse into dust. I might be like the guy at the end of The Last Crusade.
There it is.
Poorly.
Yes.
And
you've chose poorly.
And then he just evaporates into dust. I think that's what's going to happen to me when I turn 40.
Actually, wait, no, he doesn't evaporate into dust. He, like, dies excruciatingly awful, doesn't he?
I mean, yeah, by aging incredibly rapidly and decomposing.
How morbid. Hey, baseball. How's that sound, huh?
We have to.
Oh my gosh, Jeremy, listen. If you want to talk about morbid things, we could talk about the Royals' playoff chances. We could talk about the all-star roster that is currently the Royals' injury list.
That's the thing about the Royals, is that their playoff chances aren't morbid.
No.
Like, they still exist. And this is what I've said. I spent like the last 24 hours basically just saying over and over again, is that the frustrating thing about this team is like they do just enough that you're like, well, if they win a whole bunch of games in a row now, they could still get in. Like, they didn't lose enough games there that even winning a bunch of games in a row wouldn't be enough. They could still be right in the mix of things if they win a bunch of games in a row. If they sweep the White Sox and win 3 out of 4 from the Rangers, maybe not even that many. Maybe if they just take 5 in the next 7, they're still doing good.
They are.
Boy, eventually they're going to run out of time unless they get one of those streaks that were like, if they could just get this streak. I know we were saying, win 7 out of 9 against the Twins, Nationals, and White Sox. Well, 6 out of 9 would still be pretty good.
Yeah, it would.
But it's just, it keeps over and over and over and over again, where it's like, you just missed it. You're right there. If you just, and the Twins game, the final Twins game that they lost, extra innings because of a bad defensive play by Rave. And then yesterday to come all the way back from that 5-0 deficit to tie the game. I was sure if they tied the game, they'd win it. And
Same
then
here.
To lose because Carlos Estevez can't get a whiff to save his life in the month of August.
No, he cannot.
Listen, he's been good to great all year until post All-Star break, when he has been awful. And everyone's like, well, this is just how bad he's been all year. It's just hurting him now. No, he was good to great before the All-Star break.
Yep.
You don't get 30 saves by being awful and lucky. You don't. You just don't. And he'd only had 2 or 3 blown saves before the All-Star break, and now he's got, what, 6, 7? Something like that?
Yeah, something like that. It has been ugly from him. Like, he is...
Something's changed. And the velocity's still there. They still can't hit his slider, but they're not swinging and missing at anything.
No. And what the similar problem is striking Seth Lugo right now, who took the beating in that series finale against the Washington Nationals.
When I look at Seth Lugo's outing and I say a guy whose pitches are all arm side and his velocity is down a couple miles per hour, and that's an injury. That is a guy working to pitch through something that he should not be working to pitch through.
Yeah, I do agree with that, but I do also think that it's more than the injury, like right now, because I went back and looked at some of the physical numbers from Lugo, and something changed in late June, early July from that. Like the arm slot was different. The
I think he's
extension was
pitching around an
different.
injury.
I think he has some sort of shoulder injury. If I had to put my money down on it, I think he has some sort of throwing shoulder injury.
When I watched yesterday's game, it definitely looked like he was coming around the side of the ball more than he usually does, and I think he's trying to compensate for something, and I
And
don't think it's working.
no, it's absolutely not. And like we've talked ad nauseum about the Royals not just putting a guy on the injured list when he needs it the most. And if I go back and look at Seth Lugo's, month of August, where what he's had 3 starts with a 10.66 ERA
Ugh.
in that span, would I rather have that, or would I rather have, like, I don't know, 2 weeks
Stephen
of
Kolek.
rest? Yeah, 2 weeks of rest and Stephen Kolek.
I think what we're gonna get is more Bailey Falter. I think when
I
Lorenzen comes back, he's taking
Yeah.
Lugo's spot in the rotation.
Well, so, Angels
And now,
did
as much as I'm not a f I've said this before, I'm very interested to see what 2026 Bailey Falter looks like. Not guaranteeing anything, but I'm very interested.
Mhm.
I'm perfectly happy to not watch 2025 Bailey Falter pitch another meaningful inning. But I'd still rather watch 2025 Bailey Falter pitch meaningful innings and keep working on stuff because there's been some changes in his pitch repertoire already than I am watching Seth Lugo try and pitch through whatever this injury is because it is not working. And I'm worried he's going to hurt himself more. And he just signed that extension. Let's please not injure him for next year.
Right. Right. Like, this isn't something where you could use and abuse Seth Lugo and just keep him moving. Like, you've already invested quite a bit of money into him helping the Royals in the next couple of years. One thing I did want to clarify, Jeremy, is that Andy Rogers did come out, and it hasn't been official yet, but apparently Falter is moving to the bullpen.
When did she
And
say that?
I think that
Was it after the start?
I want to say it was actually before the start yesterday.
Yeah. I think that was the plan because you couldn't demote Falter because he doesn't have any options. So moving him to the bullpen makes a lot of sense. You can demote Luinder Avila, who, by the
Yeah.
way, we got to talk about him. He looked
Yes, we do.
fantastic
We will.
yesterday.
We will. Let's see here. I want
While you're
to.
looking that up, just a couple more
Yeah.
things that could have changed that game yesterday is Seth Lugo. If he comes out after 3 innings, then CJ Abrams doesn't hit the 4th run home run. That's one fewer run. Maybe the Royals win.
Maybe.
If Bobby Witt Jr. catches that pop up, there's no unearned run in the 3rd inning. If he catches that, that's one fewer run. Maybe the Royals win in 9. And if Carlos Estevez is protecting a lead instead of protecting tie game, he has not done well at protecting tie games this year. He's done much better at protecting leads. Even when he was good, he was better at protecting leads. So I hate to see him come in a tie game. Like, I just know he's going to give up a run, and especially right now. But yeah, so a
Yeah.
couple
That's how it
other
feels.
things that just one little thing changes, and boom, one little thing changes in 2 games, and boom, the Royals have 2 more wins. They're over 500. They're right there in the mix, and everyone's saying, "Uh-oh, look out! Here come the Royals."
Right. And that just piles into the frustration that you voiced earlier on. So let me read this verbatim, so there is no confusion about what Annie put out. Quote, Michael Lorenzen will come off the IL and slot back into the rotation on Saturday. Ryan Bergert is scheduled to start on Sunday. Bailey Falter is going to the bullpen, manager Matt Quatrero said today, which was yesterday. Yep, yesterday at noon Eastern time. So that
For the
was
game.
before the game.
Yeah.
That was before the game. So one thing I want to note there was not a corresponding move announced, really. Like, you have a corresponding move on the 26-man roster in regards to Falter going to the bullpen, but you still need to open up a roster spot for Lorenzen to
That was
take.
going to be Luinder Avila getting Avila. Avila, I think is how they said it on the broadcast. Yeah. I kept saying Avila. He was going to get demoted. He's not going to
Yeah,
get demoted now. That I think is a good thing for the
I think
Royals.
it is
And I
too.
think the current iteration of Bailey Falter is also better than the current iteration of Seth Lugo. Let's get him healthy.
Oof.
And then if the Royals do go on a hot streak, finally, maybe he's ready for the playoffs.
Right. And this is I don't want to compare Lugo to Greinke or anything like that, but of course, like he is kind of like those two are very close together in like arsenal and approach. I think that we've seen in a Royals uniform lately.
They didn't have the history, but he
Yeah,
pitches the same way Greinke did at the same age.
yeah, exactly. And I
No,
feel
his
like
fastball is still a little harder than Greinke's was, I think. I think Greinke
it's
was down to 88, 89.
yeah, that is not a high that's not a high bar to surpass, friend. What I'm getting at is I remember Greinke having a lot of outings where it was once if he had one or two pitches that were off, it was over. Like it was done. And usually that goes for any pitcher, right? But like there was nothing for Greinke to fall back on. And it feels the same way with Lugo,
Which is,
especially go ahead.
that would be bizarre if true, since he has 10 pitches. You'd think he'd have enough to others to choose.
Right. And I do think that pitch sequencing is a craft. I think it is a skill that can be honed. I know that's for some reason that is a little contentious. That's what I believe. I don't know. It's he just doesn't look the same. The results aren't the same. I don't know the guy. I'm not in the dugout or anything, but I'm sure that he has to be frustrated with him. And I'm sure that he knows something is up, something is different because all the tracking on his body says his body is moving differently now than it was 2 months ago. Something has changed. Has it changed consciously or subconsciously, though? That is the real kicker.
I took a quick
So,
look at Lugo's stuff and I didn't see anything that tells me
yeah,
anything.
nothing crazy. Okay, gotcha.
I mean, other than, he's bad now. The ERA and stuff is obviously different, but the arm angle, the pitch mix, all that stuff is the same. That's what it looks like to me anyway.
Okay.
At least on
Maybe
a
I'll
quick
go back and
glance.
look at it. Gotcha. What's it called? So Avila came in eighth inning against the Washington Nationals. The Royals came back and tied it up later that same inning. So I'm not saying that he had a part in that, but he certainly kept the Royals in it. He had a clean inning, had a strikeout. I mean, it was what you wanted to see from the guy. And I don't think he's going to be wearing a Royals uniform and pitching every 5 days out of the rotation. I think he is going to start off as in the bullpen, but stay in the bullpen because what captured fans' attention this spring when he was when in camp with the big boys was his curveball. And if you go and I think it was Josh Kaiser, I'm not sure, whoever tweeted this out, and I'm misattributing it, I apologize. But you talk about stuff. Well, Avila's curveball yesterday had a 141 on stuff, which is just absurd.
Yeah.
And is by far the best on the Royal staff and is one of the best in baseball right now. And I like that's been his success when he's been healthy in the minor leagues, has been that big heavy curveball that just falls off the face of the earth. Like I there's few things in baseball prettier than a good 12-6 curveball. And this guy has one of the prettiest and one of the most effective in the Royal system, I would say. But what'd you think of him? This was kind of your
Yeah,
first impression of him,
pretty
I'm
much
sure.
that. I loved him going out there and attacking guys, throwing strikes. He didn't look like he was afraid or overwhelmed by the moment at all. So he was just ready to go, and no hesitation from switching from a starter to a reliever. I'm the one good thing, I guess, about Lugo injury. Lugo going to the IL, because the injury, I think, has probably been there, is that we'll get to see more Avila, and maybe he'll get some more higher leverage innings. Hunter Harvey is gone again.
Yeah.
Very unfortunate, and apparently he's going to be out for a considerable amount of time, though the Royals hope he'll be back before the end of the season. We'll see.
Yeah. We will.
Steven Cruz, I don't believe has started a rehab yet, so no idea when he'll be back. Lucas Urseg is not as good as he was at the beginning of the year. The Estevez is not as good as he was earlier in the year, so they could use some
Yep.
help in the bullpen right now.
They could. They definitely could. And this isn't a team where I look at, especially the 40-man roster, and say, okay, they have about 2 or 3 guys who I would trust to come up and help the bullpen today. Jonathan Bolin, I think Jonathan Bolin has proven himself even when he's been yo-yoing. He's not going to be your high leverage guy, but he's going to be a solid righty coming out of the pen. I like it.
He's also been recalled and demoted so many times that if they recall him again, they cannot demote him without putting him through waivers.
Exactly. I don't think they would do that.
They don't want to do that. Somebody will claim him probably. I mean, Jorge Alcala keeps getting claimed even as he gives up home run after home run. So, I mean, Jonathan Bolin doesn't throw 100 like Alcala does, but he's done well enough and he has so much team control left that somebody would take a shot on him, I think.
Right. But this is an Omaha bullpen that you have Eric Sarantola. Cool. He's not ready. And then you have a bunch. I mean, this is a cobbled together bullpen. Even by AAA standards, this is a lot of patchwork. And are there some producing guys? Yeah, sure. But like, this is a very shallow spot for the Royals organizational depth, something that I'm not really used to. Like last year it was pretty fairly deep. And I felt like earlier on this year was pretty fairly deep. Well, that depth that they had has been pulled up to the major leagues or is either injured right now. So it's a weird spot to be in. I'm glad that Avila is in the fold in that manner, if that makes sense. I think that's where he's going to see the most success is as a reliever. So just why not keep him there?
At least maybe he could be a starter someday, but right now they have Stephen Kolek would be the next guy to throw in the rotation. I think Lorenzen's coming off the IL. Reagins, I believe, is getting ready to start his rehab assignment. I know we threw a bullpen earlier this week, and the last I heard was they were waiting to see if he still felt good the next day. And I didn't hear anything after that, so I don't know do you know if he's on his way back at all?
No,
He's not, or you don't
unfortunately
know?
not. I don't know. I have not heard anything
Let
solid
me
out of
let me
that
see if
bullpen, which is
if I can get the injury report up here.
thank you. Because that was I don't know, you would think that if there was something solid and like, yep, he has a bright green light, then we would hear something, but we just really haven't, which is concerning in a sense. Um, but we'll just have to see. It is I don't know. This team really could use Cole Reagins back in the fold. I know he wasn't as sharp, but he's your he's your guy who's like at worst he's your third best starter, but he's the guy that you trust to go out there and be a stopper every single time. Go ahead, Jeremy.
The MLB website is not working correctly, so I am trying to find it another way, and I'm not having a lot of success.
Okay, gotcha. So for folks who are unaware, so Cole Reagins been out for a little bit more than 2 months now. He got placed on IL on June 11th. He had his first bullpen session on August 12th. I got the site pulled up. He had his first bullpen session on August 12th at Kauffman. Said everything felt good and will stay on track with progression.
I'm getting 403
I think that's
forbidden when I
about
try
as
to go to the Royals website.
it's weird. They finally banned you. They
I
finally
thought
found you, Jeremy.
I thought the website was broken, but apparently I've been banned. I don't know. Anyway, go on.
So
That's good news.
it's positive, but it is positive. It's a lot of soft positivity is what I would call it. Like, but that's all you want out of a bullpen. He threw 15 pitches, so I'm talking this guy's got a while to get ramped back up before he is the guy that you trust to go out there for 85 pitches.
Middle of September seems like the answer now rather than end of August. Maybe the end.
Yeah.
Maybe not. I mean, if the Royals fall out of the playoff race in between, he probably doesn't pitch in the big leagues again this year.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
Unless they try and get him a start or two
Speak
at the end just to be like, yeah, you can pitch. Everything's fine. Everyone be cool about next year.
I don't know if I don't know if that would be wise. I don't know if they would do that, but
They
I'm not paid the big bucks.
I know they did that with Jason Vargas back in 2016. He had Tommy John at the end of 2015. Or I don't remember when he had Tommy John. But Jason Vargas came back and pitched like 3 games in September after a Tommy John injury, and then he had his All-Star game, All-Star season in the next year. I believe that was the end of 2016, and then into 2017 was the All-Star year.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it's been a thing the Royals have done before, but that was also under Dayton Moore, and he had surgery and rehab and all that stuff. I don't. Reagins may be different. I don't know.
We will see. We'll have to keep an eye on that. You already brought up Hunter Harvey, who's something I want to talk about. Hunter Harvey has been very good this season when he has been healthy. Emphasis on that second
hasn't allowed to
part.
run.
It's which is crazy. Like we're sitting here in August. If you would have told me that a reliever has multiple games under his belt and hasn't allowed to run, I'd be pretty happy about that. But now he's waking up with injuries, which I get it. I will wake up after sleeping funny and my back will be twinged or something. But I mean, I think it was Q who's talking about he had a bullpen session at Kauffman Stadium, felt fine after it, woke up, had a new injury and couldn't play catch. Like, and now it's a right adductor strain. So that lands him on the 15-day IL once again. And I don't think
In
that
the hip
we'll see
groin
him
area,
again.
apparently.
Well, that's so sorry, excuse me. That's what he went on the IL with. And then he was diagnosed with a grade 2 strain, excuse me. That's what I was trying to get to. It was a grade 2 strain down there in the groin area. So he will be sidelined for a significant amount of time per manager Matt Quatrero. It's I don't think we see him again. Something in Royals discourse that I did want to bring up though, because I have seen it a lot since Hunter Harvey's injury woes have continued, is the Royals made a mistake trading for him. This was their big, like, this is the big black eye on this front office. Like, it's, I mean, number one, I get it. It hasn't turned out as great as you would like it to be, but this isn't a guy who had injury concerns before you got him. And it's not
Well,
like Caden Wallace is, he didn't.
he's a reliever because he was injured so often as a starter in the minor leagues.
Okay, you know what?
But also, that was
fair.
Kelvin Herrera's story, and Kelvin Herrera didn't really have a lot of injury concerns once he became a reliever.
I think that's what I was alluding to, because some, like Jonathan Bolin, I think, is a good example. He hasn't had a lot of injury issues since he transitioned from being a starter. Harvey, for the Nationals, he was very healthy out of the bullpen. Let me rephrase that. And he just hasn't been since coming to Kansas City. But also, it's silly to say that the Royals lost this trade, because Caden Wallace, he's like a Nicky Lofton Nicky Lopez-esque OPS down in Double-A as a 23-year-old. Like, he is not producing at the plate, and I don't know if he was average at that level. Sure, I'm sure it'd be like, oh well, what could have been, but all in all, it's a prospect who's been like stuck in the middle there for the Nationals for quite some time for some good games of Harvey.
I was struggling to remember who the Royals even traded for him.
Yeah. I don't know. I've just seen a lot. I don't know why. I understood that Caden Wallace was a higher draft pick, and that comes with certain expectations.
He was also ranked in the Royals top 30, but that's why I've stopped paying any attention to, oh, it's in the team's top 30. Okay, let me look at their FanGraphs future value. Because first of all, every team has wildly different strength of farm system. So your number 5 is not the same as my number 5, is not the same as Seattle's number 5. And then second of all, like, sometimes these top 30 rankings are just like, yeah, that guy, he's like Caden, not Caden Wallace, who we were just talking about, Cam Devaney. Yeah, he's hitting great in play. But the MLB prospect rankings, there's a lot of good that happens there, but also a 28-year-old on his third stint in AAA cannot, by definition, be a quality prospect. Like, maybe he becomes something, but why is he so highly ranked as a prospect? He's barely a prospect.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with that. So I had to put that out there because it's one of those big what about this or what about that? And sometimes trades just don't work out for either party. And I think that this is going to be one of those such trades. We will talk more about Hunter Harvey's like contract situation this off season, I'm sure. But that's as it looks like his season is possibly done. It doesn't feel too early to at least start thinking about that at least. Speaking of some other injuries, it is quite the Royals studded lineup right now for the AAA Omaha Storm Chasers. We'll take a look at that and much more. But I do want to talk about a scary moment that didn't turn out to be too bad. So on Tuesday evening, I tweeted out a video, a clip from the Omaha Storm Chasers game, and it was Carter Jensen, the Royals' top 1 or 2, whoever you look at, they have the rankings different between Mitchell and Jensen. Jensen went to throw the ball to second, and he threw his hand and the ball right into the back of the batter's helmet, and it did not look good. It just kind of like whipped over the top of the batting helmet, and it looked really ugly. He exited the game after that, but thankfully Annie Rogers came in and described him as day-to-day with a contusion. I don't know how serious that is. They just came out with their lineup again, and so Jensen has not been in the lineup for Wednesday or Thursday in Omaha. But I think they avoided like the worst case scenario, which would have been like what Blake Mitchell had to start off this year, that hamate injury that delayed his season by like 2 months, you know?
Yeah. The big concern I still have is, does he get a little gun shy on his throws on stolen bases now? Because one of the things you have to be able to do as a baseball player is disregard where people are and make the best throw you can make. I experienced this even as a little league infielder. Like, if somebody looks like they're in the line of my throw, I gotta still throw that ball. If I try and throw it around them, I'm gonna end up throwing it away, and that's true of the catcher too. If he's a little slower on his pop time, if he's trying to make sure that he's avoiding the batter when he's throwing, that could really interfere with his ability to throw out base runners. And I know that we're all excited for Carter Jensen's bat, but if he's gonna stay behind the plate, it'd probably be nice if he could throw out some base runners too.
It would. It absolutely would. And he's been pretty solid at that this year. This is something I will always go back and correct myself on, because I did not believe that Carter Jensen would stick behind the plate, and he looks like a very competent catcher. He's called a no-hitter for the Naturals this year. He is good at limiting base runners. Does he have a lot of work to do? Yes, he has a lot of room to improve, but he looks very, very much like on the up and up behind the plate. And yeah, this is I think the bat's hot enough that probably here in about 2 weeks we might be talking about him as a September roster expansion call up.
We'll see. I'm still not sure that there's room for him with Jack Caglianone getting ready to come off the injured list. And I mean, you could demote John Rave, but then who do you demote to get Carter? I mean, you could demote John Rave and then Carter Jensen could come on. But then my question about Carter Jensen getting the September call-up is, how much playing time is he going to get? And a lot of that probably depends on, are the Royals still ostensibly in the playoff race? If they fall out of it, well, then you say, all right, we don't need to worry about getting Randall Grichuk and Mike Yastrzemski more time in the outfield. So Salvi can be primarily a DH or primarily a DH first baseman for the rest of the year, and Carter Jensen can be the catcher. And then, Vinny would also be first base designated hitter, and whoever plays in the outfield plays in the outfield. And that's the other thing about Jack Caglianone coming back is, okay, if he's your right fielder and then you play Grichuk or Yastrzemski in left, well, then one of them's got a DH maybe some days. So, yeah, it depends a lot on if the Royals think they're still competitive, because they're also not going to want to call up Carter Jensen and be like, yeah, we're in the middle of a playoff race. You got to sit on the bench because we don't trust your bat. Or, yeah, we're in the middle of a playoff race. you got to help us carry this team to victory, even though you've never played in the big leagues. It's just be an awkward situation for him, I think, at this point of the year.
It is. And the one rationale that I keep putting in my head is they're going to have to add him to the 40-man roster sooner rather than later. He is eligible for this upcoming Rule 5 draft. And I know that, Carter Jensen's a guy who left unprotected in the Rule 5 draft is not going to be in the Royals organization anymore. That is a no-brainer right there from me. Hey, you brought up Caglianone. He's looking pretty good in his rehab assignment right now with
Oh, you
Omaha.
mean he can still crush AAA pitching, and it's almost like there's nothing left for him to prove there? Is that what I'm hearing, Jacob?
No way.
No one could have seen that coming.
Yeah, he is. Let's see here. He came back from the IL, had a 4-for-5 game. Did not play on Wednesday night, but he is back in the lineup for tonight. And yeah, he can still just absolutely crush the ball. Like that is who Jack Caglianone is. He is known masher of balls. Go ahead.
It's just almost like the dude is very, very talented and can absolutely crush everybody in AAA and still has some kinks to work out at the big league level. And unfortunately, there is no 4A level for him to try and work between.
Well, I don't know. The Chicago White Sox might be the closest thing to 4A.
I would put my money on the Rockies for that.
Yes. So, and
the White Sox
think that also the course
pretty good the last few weeks
lately, yeah. Which is like of all the times that they have to run into them again. One thing that I don't think there's a whole lot of discussion for regarding Caglianone is I think that the no-brainer move is you demote John Rave again when Jack Caglianone is ready to come back to the 26-man roster. Is that the only? I think that's the only move, right, Jeremy?
Some people would want to demote Tyler Tolbert, which I think is wild because he's so good and versatile defensively, and he's really fast, and he's the base stealer. The issue for Tyler Tolbert is dude has got to figure out how to do a slide where he stays on the bag. We had the Mets thing that happened twice since then. He slid off the bag, and he's only been safe because the infielder didn't bother to hold the tag on him. If the infielder had held the tag on him, he'd have been out based on what we saw against the Mets. And he came off much more clearly both of those times than he did against the Mets. So he's got to figure that out. It looks like Bobby Witt figured it out because Bobby Witt also got dinged in that Mets series, and he's stolen several bases, and I haven't seen him come close to coming off since. So Tolbert's got to figure that part out, and John Rave is fast, but he doesn't have the flexibility. He's not hitting as well as Tolbert.
No.
He came out of the All-Star break, tearing the cover off the ball, showing the swing that made me fall in love with him in spring training, and then it kind of evaporated again, which, if you hate the Royals hitting coaches, is a thing that makes you go, see, it was the outside coaching that fixed everything, and the hitting coaches are awful, even if they came up with the plan. And I don't have a rebuttal for that right now, but I don't know. He's just not looking good. He looks like he's making bad choices and bad swings. Even though he did get a couple walks, couple hits in the series against the Nationals.
That he did. So, Ken, you brought up the external coaching, and I feel like this is the perfect time to bring up Freddie Fermin with the San Diego Padres.
Yeah. He's having fun.
He is. He's got 152 WRC plus. Got a dinger. He's got a few RBI. I mean, he's striking out 2.9% of the time right now. Like,
so obviously he's getting his hitting coaching from the second baseman turned first baseman
from the San Diego Padres.
What is his name?
Which I'm blanking. I'm drawing a blank on it right now.
The guy who played for the Twins and then the Marlins, and he was the hitting batting champ for 3 different teams in 3 different years.
Luis Arias.
That's the name. Arias, yeah.
Which, you know what?
He's the one who must be giving hitting coaching to Freddie, because that strikeout rate is insane.
It is absolutely absurd. I mean, and hey, you know what? If you're gonna be a 1-2 wonder,
tiny sample size.
No, it's an absolutely reasonable sample size of 34 plate appearances.
Yeah, I mean, we got to draw conclusions from a sample size that big.
Yes. But the thing that coincided with it is, Baseball Savant, if y'all haven't ever just poked around on Baseball Savant and tried to
So
find
good.
new ways or new things, they have so many things that let you look under the baseball hood. And so I looked at what Freddie Fermin's, his stance, his bat path, and things like that since June 1st through the trade deadline, and then Fermin with the Padres. There are several, I don't want to say notable changes. Like he's not standing like Ichiro Suzuki all of a sudden. It's not that drastic. But there are a lot of different things that have coincided with results being better. His depth in the box, how far away he stands away from the plate, how wide his stance is, and his bat angle has changed pretty notably. Now from 33 to 35 doesn't sound crazy, but that is 2 degrees, and every little bit counts.
When you're talking hitting stance and swing path and stuff, tiny changes make a huge difference. And you're talking about a bunch of tiny changes.
Yes.
And it's a small sample size. Maybe it evens out, but that sounds interesting, at least to me.
Yeah. And I will. So the Baseball Savant, they have multiple different categories that they measure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 different ones. And out of this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 have notable changes with the Padres. Like he is performing like a different batter right now. He's red hot for the Padres right now. And it's too soon to add him to the heap of like a Ryan O'Hearn or a Brent Rooker or anything like that. But I think that if this continues throughout the end of the season, we have to talk about it as such in the offseason.
There's a difference between Freddie Fermin and those two guys, Jacob.
Well, what's the difference?
The difference is those two guys walked out of Kansas City for nothing. Freddie Fermin went to San Diego and brought back a guy who looks like a really good starter in the making, like a mid-rotation guy at least, and an interesting guy for bullpen, potentially a 6th or 7th starter.
Yep, I agree with that. I do, and I think that would
when you make a trade, you're trading away potential. And when you trade away a big league player, you're trading away a guy who has proven talent. So, and it's not like we've never seen Freddie Fermin hit for the Royals. He's hit at various times. Let me know how he's hitting at the end of the year after playing every day. And then also let me know, does Ryan Bergert still look really good? Because if Ryan Bergert still looks really good, it's not like the Royals dropped Freddie Fermin because they couldn't fix him. They traded him because he had value and got value back.
Yeah, I certainly do agree with that.
Place of depth where if you keep Freddie Fermin, where's Carter Jensen supposed to play?
In AAA. That's where he's supposed to play. In AAA, right?
Is that the best way for the Royals to do things?
No, it's not.
Okay.
I'm just being snarky. No, and you're absolutely right that helps the Royals' case in this because it does. It looks like a win-win trade right now. I'm saying it could look even more so like a win-win trade come this off season, but this is going to add more fuel to the fire of not the Royals front office making wrong decisions when it comes to hitters, the hitting development not getting the right results.
I got to be honest with you, Jacob. I have really this is kind of the thing I proposed earlier this year where the offense was really bad, and I'm only more convinced of it as time goes on, is that there are good things that the Royals hitting coaches do as far as helping guys identify flaws, but they don't do enough.
Yeah.
I some people were saying, well, maybe it wasn't the hitting coaches, maybe it was the talent. The Royals are hitting the tar out of the ball right now. I really do think they kind of got tilted early in the year and were just being way too aggressive. And I think as they've started to hit better, they've started to relax, and they're continuing to hit better because they were always getting good coaching. The problem was that the coaching wasn't able to get through to them. And so that's where I say these guys, I don't necessarily want them to leave the organization, but also you do need to make changes because you can't have your hitters on tilt for half a season.
Yeah. They like some eventually they have to snap out of it, and some of them
That's
haven't.
where and I've heard, on Kaufman Corner and other places that, some of it is, well, these guys all have their own personal hitting coaches that they go to. And sure, they do, but that you still have team hitting coaches. They have to do something. And it seems
Yeah.
like team hitting coaches would be the ones that are defining the team process, the team morale, the team, like, don't be tilted. Make sure you're
Hmm.
swinging at good pitches. If he throws you a fastball down the middle on the first pitch, swing at it.
Yeah.
Defining those kinds of things. And that's where the Royals hitters have been failing.
Yes. Precisely. Maybe the mechanics have been sound. Maybe that's what
Yeah.
the
So
what the
I
out of
love the
part the
idea
third party.
of these three guys still being around in some capacity, but they need someone else who can help these guys. And maybe the hitting coaches don't need to change. Maybe the hitting coaches are fine. Maybe they need a new sports psychologist. I don't know.
Maybe.
Something has to happen, though.
Yeah, so something does, and yeah, that's a discussion for another time. I think I do want to write up something on Royals Review
Yeah.
about the hitting coach situation. One more thing to note on Freddie Fermin before I move on, or before I close down this tab and it ceases to exist in my brain. In 9 games, Freddie Fermin has already matched the FWAR that he had with the Royals this season in 67. So that is he's doing pretty good out there on the West Coast. We
Yeah, but
love
some
to
of those
see it.
games were pinch running for Salvador Perez because they didn't have any more
Yeah,
pinch runners.
playing
There was
second
a game
base,
where he played second base for half of an inning.
Yeah. What a fever dream. Like that just has.
So the MLB The Show did a new threads series. They started, it was a new type of card they did this year, was new threads for guys who signed new contracts in the offseason. And then a couple weeks after the trade deadline, they did a new release for guys who got traded. And I'm so frustrated that Bergert and Mike Yastrzemski didn't make it into the new threads. I'm hoping they'll show up as tops now or something. But Freddie Fermin did show up. They gave Freddie
Yes.
Fermin a nice new Padres card. Good for Freddie. And where was I going with this? I have the train of thought in my brain has completely derailed. I have no idea where I was going with that.
Well, let me let me get back to it with one more
I was
bit
hoping
of.
that he was going to get a second base, secondary position for that
Gotcha.
half an inning he played at second base. He did not. He is a catcher only card.
Yep, that he is. Hey, one more bit of baseball news before. Actually, wait. I think 2 more. Number one, more rumblings about the impending lockout following the 2026 season. It
Will it
seems
be
like it's
after
going to
the
happen.
2026 season? For
That's
some reason, I thought it might be the 2026 season.
no, my
I
understanding
thought
is it's
my
going to be
timelines would
after
be.
the 2026 season,
Okay.
and it would affect the 2027 season potentially. That's seeming more. If I were a bet man, I would bet money on it happening. How many games? I don't know. And then also MLB Players Weekend is this weekend, and I know it's just a cool little spurt of games. Of course, memorably last year, Dairon Blanco having that huge game against the Cincinnati Reds with his yellow crayon bat. So that was super cool. And you'll get a few more moments like that this weekend all around the league. So go ahead and try to check out a game or two.
Speaking of MLB The Show, I'm still ticked off that Dairon Blanco didn't get a really cool card the next week for his yellow crayon bat performance.
Yeah, he should have. He should have. I do want to highlight Noah Cameron, who is going to be who has some really cool specialized and one cleats. He'll be
Ooh.
wearing custom cleats that feature Central High School, where he was a 3-time first team all conference pitcher and played 4 sports over his 4 years there before graduating in 2018. So just repping the local school and repping his alma mater, if you will.
I
But
still
Jeremy,
miss the nicknames on the back of the jerseys.
I do too.
That was my favorite part of Players Weekend. You can
That's
have your
how.
silly bats and you can have your personalized cleats. I'm not going to be able to see your cleats on TV. I want to see your nicknames. I want to see your Bro Hearn. I want to see your Not Justin. I want to see your Corey's brother.
I want to see your Dick Mountain. Okay.
Jacob I'm just moving on now.
You're gonna
That
tell me
topic
that
is
I'm
right.
wrong. I very efficiently closed out that topic, didn't I? All right, well, hey, let's go and I think that's as good of a time as ever to get on to some Royals reviews. Jeremy, will you start us off, please?
Sure. Let's see. I have been playing a new web browser game. I get every few months I get hooked on this new daily browser puzzle game, and I get so excited about it. And then a few months later, I'm bored and over it. Right now, my puzzle game is Clues by Sam, which is a neat little puzzle game where you get a grid of 20 people and it gives them names. And I'll give you this hint for free that I only just figured out today after playing this for a week is that the names are all in alphabetical order. So, like, the top row is Alice, Brian, Cheryl, and Daniel for today. So, if you're like, where is, because it'll give you everybody, one person will be marked. Okay, so the idea is you're supposed to identify all 20 people as whether they're criminals or innocents. And anybody, and you get their names and you get their professions. And one person will be started marked off as one of those, and they'll give you a hint that will help you identify at least one more person who is an innocent or criminal, and that will give you a new hint. And you go on and on from there, trying to get all the hints to figure out who is an innocent or a criminal. And one of the really cool things about it is that you can't just wildly guess. You do have to follow the logic puzzles. It won't, if you try and guess without the logic telling you the game knows what options you have for correct guesses based on the logic that you've unraveled to that point. And if you try and make a selection that is not supported by the logic you can view, it won't let you select anything.
Oh, interesting.
So you do actually have to follow the puzzle, and it's got some really good hints. It's really fun, and like once you get to a certain point, some of the people don't have clues anymore because you already have all the clues you need, and they'll have silly little things that they'll say like, Frank says that this person and this person are innocent, and that must mean that that person's guilty. And then when you select that person's guilty, they're like, Frank should have kept his mouth shut. And it's just a cute little fun little browser puzzle game to give you something daily to look forward to use your brain a little bit. Who knows how long this one will stick with me, but I'm enjoying it so far. It's a little bit more complex without being hard. Like, one of the
Yeah.
things that got me off of Immaculate Grid was that I find it nearly impossible to complete an Immaculate Grid, to get Immaculate, and I feel like a failure if I don't get it Immaculate, so I gave up. And then there was that other baseball trivia one that I was doing, and that one got so easy for me that I was just like, I don't feel like I'm even having to try here. So this feels like
Gotcha.
it's in a sweet spot for these kinds of puzzles for me. Hopefully, we'll see. I also thought that about the one that ended up being really easy, was that it was in a sweet spot, and then eventually I kind of figured out some of the clues, I guess. So Clues by Sam, I'm having a lot of fun with it. You should check it out.
Okay. I like it. I like it. I got a short review that I've already spieled on multiple times before, but I have to reiterate and then a self brag. First off, this was one of the times yet again this year that I get hit with the MLB blackout stuff, even though I'm a Royals fan out of market. The Royals hosting the Nationals, I'm in their blackout area. I can't watch it. I don't like that. I think it's silly, but here we are. And it was I love the radio broadcasts. I really do. But you know the human psyche. Like, as soon as you can't have something that you usually have, that's when, oh, that's all I want right now is that one thing. And that's how I was feeling. But love the radio broadcasts. Dave, Steve, and Jake, they all do a great job. And I'm
Dave
really
Dave Stewart.
they,
No,
no, Steve Stewart,
Steve
Denny,
Stewart.
Jesus,
Yeah, I
Denny
was like,
Matthews.
yeah, there you go. I was like, I
Oh
know
my
we're missing someone
gosh.
important here, and I don't know who Dave is.
I think my head was combining Denny and Jake for some reason.
Dake.
Sorry, Steve. And
I like
then
Steve a lot too. So there.
like I don't dislike any of them. I just have my favorites. You know, that's how it
Sure.
goes. And then self brag is I moved on to the next step of this interview and selection process for the MLB Scout and Coaching Development Program that's hosted every year down at the Arizona Fall League. So
Ooh.
I'm pretty nervous and excited about that.
Wait,
That would
as a coach, you're gonna get coached.
no, as so what it is they take applications from around the country of a certain age group and like, hey, do you want to be a coach or do you want to be a scout? If you want to be either one, we'll take you for a week. We'll pay for your hotel, pay for your food. You come down and you can learn at the Arizona Fall League, which has a lot of prospect talent. A lot of big name Royals prospects have passed through there, but it's just a week of learning and it's building that pipeline of getting new faces into front offices and keeping things staffed
You gotta tell me
or at
when the
least starting
applications are
to.
next year. I
What'd
wanna
you say?
try that.
I found out like the day before the applications were due. So I got
And
very
text
fortunate in that.
messages are instantaneous. You don't have to
I
send it by Pony Express anymore, Jacob.
I actually ran out of texts for the month, my track phone.
You were like the guy on the Carvana commercial, and the guy comes up and he's like, "Hey, you want to come to my party?" He's like, "I gotta go sell my car." And the dude's like, "Hey, no, you should use Carvana. It's really fast. Actually, you're the one that told me about it." And then Carvana person runs up and hands him a check, and then he's like, and then the first dude's like, "See, you sold your car. You can come to my party now." I was like, "Yeah, no, I don't got a car. Sorry." That's you right now. Don't have any text messages. What is this? 1999, Jacob?
Forgot there were text messages in 1999, honestly.
Yeah,
I was
that's where
still
they were
just
limited.
beepers. Yeah, no, like
Oh
100
my
a
gosh,
month.
my dad had a pager. This was before cell phones. My dad had a pager that you could send messages to using a computer app, like text messages to.
Really?
And I sent him so many text messages during the day while he was trying to work because I was homeschooled.
That's right. Oh yeah, I bet you were annoying the heck out of them.
I was.
But
I was like, Dad, where are the leftovers that I wanted to eat for lunch? Dad, when are you coming home? Dad, can we get tickets to the game this weekend? And he's like, I am
that does sound
trying to
wholesome as
work.
hell.
Stop paging me.
Yeah, I would love to do that though. So, well, hey, all smiles as we close out the podcast tonight. The Royals will have 3 against the Chicago White Sox coming up this weekend. So we'll be talking about that on Sunday. If you want to follow us on
Well,
social
we're
media, we'll
recording on
also be
Monday
talking.
this week, right?
Oh yes, excuse me. I'm sorry. We're recording on Monday. Katie and I have an event. So
I have a thing now also, so
Oh yeah, just
like
imagine.
don't. Yeah, I didn't run out of text messages, and other people were texting me things. So
But yeah, no, we'll.
congrats to you. I hope your application goes all the way through, and you get to go down there and do lots of cool stuff.
But you hope that I miss a crucial part of it
No, I
via
want
text
you. I
message.
want you to succeed. The only downside for me if you succeed and become an MLB scout is I don't know if you can keep podcasting.
Who probably not.
I don't know if that's
But
like
we'll
a
see.
conflict of interest or something.
I think it is. I think it would be.
Well, we'll cross that bridge
We'll
when we
just be
get there.
happy
But
trails.
I wish you all the success, buddy.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. I'll keep you all up to date. But next time you hear from us, we'll be talking about Chicago White Sox, hopefully series win, and we'll be looking at the Texas Rangers, who will be in Kauffman Stadium for 4 games. But for all the discussion and things like that, you can continue it on social media. Our links are down in the podcast description below. Jeremy fixed my incorrect linking and incorrect handle after all this time, so I'm terribly sorry about that, Jeremy.
Maybe
I'm
I can
terribly
get some
sorry
new
to anyone who tried
followers
to use
now.
it. Maybe so. The Coincidink, I think not. But
If I
I'm
get
Jacob
like
Milham.
30 followers this weekend, I'm gonna be like, yeah, Jacob, come on.
I would deserve that. So we're gonna get on out of here. I'm Jacob Milham. There, Jeremy Greco. Thank you so much for joining us today. And until next time, go Royals.